Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we are diving into the Judge Jeffrey Ferguson, arrested in the murder of his wife. What we don't know is, did he really do it? Right now, this is very early, but he has been arrested and actually may have already posted $1 million bond. And so we're going to dive into the story and what we know at this time, if much, but there is much. Let's dive into it. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. In the normally quiet neighborhood in East Canyon Vista Drive in Anaheim Hills, Thursday night, just this past week, you would see a huge crime scene with helicopters in the air, police everywhere, even yelling at a man. And that's what a neighbor, Angela Herman, shared, that she heard a man's voice yell, "Don't shoot me." She said herself she was too scared to go outside, but other neighbors gathered in the dusk and they were shocked to see one of the longtime residents in the neighborhood, Jeffrey Ferguson, who is an Orange County Superior Court judge, standing in front of his home, speaking loudly into a cell phone. There were even green laser dots that were focused on his body as a booming voice from above directed him to get on the ground. He himself, allegedly, according to Russell Ventura, said, "I heard the judge shout, 'I'm unarmed, but I'm not going to get on the floor.'" That's what Russell said. And he lives in a nearby neighborhood because this huge crime scene was bringing a bunch of people from other neighborhoods to see what was going on, right? That's human nature for the most part. And so officers, they rushed up and quickly apprehended Ferguson, placing him in handcuffs and sitting him on the curb outside of his home. And so the 72-year-old judge, police say, had earlier shot and killed his wife inside their $1.4 million home. And so we will continue to find out more, but Anaheim police, they arrived at the home in the 8500 block of East Canyon Vista Drive shortly after 8 p.m., again, Thursday, August 3rd, after reports of a shooting. Officers, they made an emergency entry, and that's where they found Sheryl Ferguson, 65 years old, rest in peace, Sheryl, shot to death inside the residence. And here we have Judge Jeffrey Ferguson, who is an active judge. You see, one other person was in the home at the time of the shooting, but was not injured. That's what Anaheim Police Sergeant Jon McClintock had shared. Now, law enforcement sources who spoke on condition of anonymity, they shared that they weren't authorized to really discuss a lot of the case, but they did say that the person was one of the Ferguson's adult sons and that he had called 911 and attempted to perform CPR on his mother. Now, police, they did recover the weapon that was used to kill Sheryl Ferguson. That's according to anonymous sources. And so police, they were seen there late into the night. And again, Ferguson, he has been released from jail at the very following afternoon on a $1 million bond. Now, again, they know who he is. I don't know why they gave him a bond. Maybe there is, of course, there is two sides to every story. So maybe he has some credibility that they would give him a bond that he can afford. I don't know. Maybe they thought most people don't have $1 million bond. but he has a $1.4 million home. And so one of the neighbors, Jim Carey, said he saw Philip Ferguson sitting on a sidewalk opposite his father, who hung his head while surrounded by police this night that you are looking at right there on your screen. And he shared that from what has been reported, it's out of character for this judge to carry out this act. Well, most judges do not commit these type of things. Now, on Friday morning, police, they did continue to cordon off the area as all the way through the night, as you can see here, where they were gathered all the way through the night into the day. And so the whole area was cordoned off in front of the two-story tile roofed home where the fatal shooting occurred. And there was even red crime scene tape that you can see right there on your screen that blocked the front door of the house and its 3-car garage. Investigators, they were searching the property from which a lot of boxes of ammunition were removed. Over and over, police officers, detectives, they were coming out with literally different ammunition. Now, the Sergeant Ventura, he said that police, or should I say neighbor Ventura, said that he saw police load several rifles into an unmarked SUV outside. And so that's what he was sharing himself through this. Now, again, this is still an ongoing. We don't really know much more. But I'm going to share with you a little more of who the judge is. You see, another neighbor, Jon McClintock, he called the news of the shooting and arrest tragic. That's his term. It's a shock. That's what this neighbor said. Of course, it's a huge shock, especially when there's even a judge behind this. He knew what he was getting himself into, but at the same time, there's very little that the police are sharing. Now, John, he said that they exchanged pleasantries whenever they saw each other in the street and that he never expected anything like this to happen. Again, a lot of people, as he said, this is a shock. And he says that so many people in the neighborhood flooded the street afterward and just kept repeating, there's no way he could have done this. That's what Jon McClintock said about the neighbors sharing their view of this. Now, Ferguson, he has served as a judge in Orange County Superior Court since 2015, and he previously spent more than 3 decades with the Orange County District Attorney's Office, during which he worked on major narcotics enforcement. Now, that's according to the North Orange County Bar Association, where Ferguson served as president of the association from 2012 to 2014. Now, again, this is still ongoing. We're only continuing to learn more about what has happened here. We do know a California judge, Jeffrey Ferguson, has been arrested and has posted bond. And so he is not in jail right now. There's going to be more to this story. And the victim, Sheryl Ferguson, she has previously worked for both the Orange County and Santa Barbara Probation Department. And so she was part of the law enforcement world herself as a probation worker. And we continue to find out more about this. But here is Sheryl Ferguson. Rest in peace, Sheryl. We don't really know what made this man do this to this young lady, but she had a lot more life to live. Her life was tragically taken away. And what you're looking at is a post the day of the murder, where Jeff Ferguson shared this post. This was a post from August 3rd of 2013. And he says in this post, I like that look. Why would he share this post? He would have to scroll back to find this post 10 years ago that day, I guess he got the memory, because that would have been a memory, so he didn't even have to scroll back, right? It even is one of his memories that says 10 years ago. So he shares this, and then we find that she has been murdered. Now, the judge himself, he described himself in his biography as a Navy brat whose family had moved to Orange County in 1962. As a teen, he, like many of the locals, they worked at Disneyland, just like here in St. Louis, right? There is a Six Flags, and so a lot of locals work there. And in Orange County is Disneyland. Disneyland has been around for a very long time. He also graduated with biology and social ecology degrees from UC Irvine, where he was regional director for Young Americans for Freedom. And he was also a graphic designer and advertising communications writer before graduating from Western State College of Law. And so now, of course, people are going to speak out. And you always got to take everything with a grain of salt. But there's always a lot of truth behind this. But colleagues who spoke on the condition of anonymity said that they were not aware of any issues between the judge and his wife. One person said they were absolutely shocked, just like the neighbor, right? They were in shock. And this colleague said, I had them sit on my couch. I would never have thought this for a minute. One other person, Susan Kang, who's a former chief of staff for Orange County's district attorney, she said that she had been friends with the Fergusons since 1999. And she said when Jeff was one of the prosecutors who helped train our hiring class. And she says, I have always known Jeff to be someone who was devoted to his wife and his sons. Just a little while ago, they were at my house having dinner. To be shocked to hear Jeff was arrested for murdering Sheryl would be an understatement. I cannot wrap my mind around it. I am heartbroken, especially for Philip. You see, people are absolutely shocked that this is a story right now. That a judge and the people close to him say, we had no idea. There were no signs. There were no signs that he could do this. Now, one person shared, Eric Johnson, that he met Ferguson when they attended Southern California Military Academy in the 1960s. And he said that he sat outside his friend's home on Friday after police had investigated the crime scene. So he is sitting right there in front of that $1.4 million home. And as he's sitting there, he says, it's not Jeff. I would imagine he better get some medical counseling to take out your wife. You're not in your right mind. Something is not right here. Now, that's what he said. Again, innocent until proven guilty, but why would he practically confirm what the police arrested him for, but also gave him bail for? And so they obviously are not sharing anything for whatever reason yet. We don't really know what formal charges. There's no formal charges, but he has been arrested. And so now Ferguson, he was admonished by the state's Commission on Judicial Performances for a comment that was connected to a heated 2016 judicial contest between Orange County Superior Court Judge Scott Steiner, who at that time was running for re-election, and Karen Schatzel, a senior deputy district attorney for the county. And Ferguson, he was backing Steiner, who had been censored in 2014 for having sex with two women in his chambers. And so in between this, he's taken Steiner's side. Right? Steiner does something that, let's be real, you're in office. That's not what the office is for. But Ferguson, what's the big deal? I guess. I'm guessing, right? But it is known that he was taking sides with Steiner, who he had been censored, meaning he was he was caught doing it, right? Having sex with these two women in his own chambers. And according to the commission, which they are the ones that do all this investigation around judicial misconduct, Shatsu posted a comment on Facebook page of the North Orange County Bar Association on April 26th of 2016, where he was sharing that Scott Steiner uses his office for sex, and yet so many aren't concerned. Crazy politics. That's what Shatsu has shared. And so, you know, that's was a little of the back and forth. And so in response, Ferguson goes to Facebook and claimed Karen Shatsu has sex with defense lawyer while she is DA on his cases and nobody cares. Interesting politics. That's what he put in a public forum because Facebook is public. Now, granted, I'm assuming that this was public because he saw it and it wasn't private unless it was private to him. But the commission ruled that Ferguson, when he made those comments, violated ethics rules and that he had acted with reckless disregard for the truth, noting that he could not produce any factual support for this accusation that he made on Facebook, right? He's a judge. He's a judge. I would think you would know better than that. And so now, Friday morning, Ferguson's Fullerton courtroom was dark. A note was posted on the door, and it said that cases had been transferred to another courtroom at the North Justice Center. I'm sure they were all going back and forth like, scrambling basically. But, another Superior Court spokesman, he said that the situation is tragedy. Absolutely. Costas, I'm not going to even try to pronounce the last name because I'm sure I'm going to butcher it and embarrass myself. My heart goes out to his family. This is not easy for us. That's what the Orange County Superior Court spokesman shared. This is a tragic story we don't know what kind of mental breakdown he might have had. We don't know what was going on. Let's be real. We know that people live a certain life that they don't really live. A lot of times. They fake the happiness. They live through the unhappiness and not share it even sometimes with their closest friends. But, the spokesman said that they're going to do the reassignment of all the cases that this is standard when a judge is unable to work, but that Ferguson's arrest may be without precedent in the county's court system. And so, we'll see where that takes it in all of that. But he has been arrested on the suspicion of killing his wife in their own home. Again, this was a great neighborhood, Anaheim Hills home, right? $1.4 million home. You can even tell from the picture right there that it's a big home. And especially in Anaheim, which again, he's been in California basically all his life, other than traveling, I guess it would be. But he worked at Disneyland, but he also was a Navy brat, which also comes with some traveling if that's what your family has been, or if I'm guessing he probably served as well. But when officers get there, they find his wife, rest in peace, Sheryl Ferguson, shot, and she was declared dead at the scene in this upscale neighborhood. And so this does not happen. Now, he was held on $1 million bail, but as I shared, he posted and he was out. But he is expected to appear in court on Monday, so he has not been formally charged yet. Are they keeping tabs on him? What's going to happen over the weekend? Right now, I guess, right? We're on Saturday. He's been out since yesterday. He's due in court on Monday. And had he been arrested on Friday, he'd probably be in court. He'll be in jail all weekend. But so charges are still to come. But, we do know that someone else was in the home. So there's a witness who saw this. There's a witness who also called the police. And We don't know if he has an attorney at this time just yet, but he does serve as a judge handling criminal cases in this courthouse in Orange County City of Fullerton. And he previously worked in the Orange County District Attorney's Office and prosecuted drug cases. That was according to the North Orange County Bar Association, as I shared. And so he was even honored as an Attorney of the Year by the association. So, I mean, this guy was a big part of the law. But he also sounds like he's not scared to share his opinion, but he also sounds like he'll throw stuff out there that he doesn't know to be true, might have heard from a third party, might have, made it up. We don't really know. And so everyone is talking about how this is a tragic situation. And he takes a seat on the bench in 2015. And 2 years later, that's when he was admonished by the Commission on Judicial Performance for that posted statement on Facebook. You know, that also speaks to kind of his character a little bit, but crazier things have happened. Crazier things has happened. And he married Sheryl on October 26th of 1996. That's when he and Sheryl got married. And so they always did, they traveled around, they visited different areas, but they spent most of their time in California. And this is where, when it comes to politics, we all know you still don't know who you can trust. These are people that we should be able to trust because they're the ones that are supposed to uphold the law. At the same time, they are also human beings. Human beings, they mess up. They make mistakes. They do dumb things. They do the heinous, as in allegedly murdering your wife. And so for a long time, it just looked like this was a great, great marriage. But we find out maybe it wasn't. We're going to continue to follow this story. We're going to continue. But why did he share a post to Facebook of Sheryl, which it looks like he posted on August 3rd of 2013 originally at around 8 p.m. on 2023 August 3rd. That's when he allegedly shoots his wife in their residence in Anaheim Hills. Now, Philip was inside the residence. He wasn't injured. Another person was inside the residence. He wasn't injured. Put two and two together. But why? There's going to be a lot more coming to this story, and I'll be sure to follow it. But make sure that you hit that subscribe button. That way you know whenever I give updates or upload any content. My friends, and if it's stories like this you like, if you found this story of value, my whole goal is to be a voice for the victim. You see, Mrs. Ferguson, Sheryl, was taken from this world way too soon. Rest in peace, Sheryl. If you are a person of prayer, please pray that her loved ones find peace in this tragic, tragic story. My other goal is to make sure that I keep you aware of what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. Because if you understand that stories like this exist over and over and over, you at least know to at least pay attention if there were red flags. Doesn't happen all the time, but it happens more than it should happen. Domestic violence is real. It is real, and we have to be conscious of this. I'm Manny Rodriguez. This has been another episode of Deep True Crime. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to serving you again. Peace.